The way the title is spelled is with an X, very boldly put in the experiment part. There's no E in experiment. It begins with a giant X, and on posters for the film and in the title, the X is highly emphasized. Now, this wasn't just a stylization. The reason this was emphasized was because the Quatermass experiment was intended by the producers of the film, Hammer Films, to be an X-rated movie, which meant that in the UK, people under 16, exhibitors were discouraged from letting people under 16 even see the movie. So think about that for the time, the Quatermass experiment was so lurid, the country that produced it, the official censors believed, and the filmmakers were conscious in trying to do, that this is only a movie that's appropriate for adults. This is a movie that's only appropriate for people of a certain age. You can't show this to children. Meanwhile, in the United States, you have the Quatermass experiment and the Black Sleep just being wantonly shown because not these films were more or less released unrated in the American context, right, because they're not that ratings didn't exist. The Production Code Authority had a much more black and white approval or disapproval system, but because the major studios who had independently created the Production Code Authority, because they had been divested of so much of their monopolistic power in the film industry, it was now much easier for smaller studios and independent ones to push boundaries. And I think it is more of a urban legend. Not even an urban legend, because we do know the factual origin, but it's an anecdote from the American release of the double feature of The Black Sleep and The Creeping Unknown. I'm going to tell you guys the brief story of a child named Stewart Cohen. He was a 9-year-old from the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, who went with some friends to the Lake Theater on Sunday, October 28th, 1956, to see a horror movie double feature consisting of The Black Sleep and The Creeping Unknown. Early into the second half of the double bill, Stewart's friends later told investigators that he began murmuring and acting weirdly before finally collapsing on the floor. He was taken out into the lobby of the theater, where he ultimately died. An autopsy performed by the deputy coroner concluded that Stewart, whose heart was smaller than average, had died due to heart collapse after extraordinary tension while watching a movie. In other words, the official reasoning for Stewart's death was that he died of fright. In 1957, Stewart's mother sued for $25,000, alleging negligent maliciousness on the part of the distributors of the film, United Artists, and the management of the theater who booked the double feature. The suit also claimed that these movies were, quote, horrendous, hideous, and inherently dangerous to the safety and well-being of children. Mm-hmm.